Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Ennis. I'm delighted to have this very beautiful woman, Rosie, joining me. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Look, I'm delighted. I was reading, you did a beautiful blog post for us at the Corporate Escapists. So thank you so much for that. And I'm reading a story going, oh my goodness, this woman is speaking my language. She gets it. She is on the same wavelength as us. And you have just this massive vision, which I can't wait to talk even more about. So before we dive in, I'm going to ask you lots of little juicy questions.
Sure.
Do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your business as well?
So I'm Rosie. I always get stuck when people say, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? Even though I know everything about myself, it's just you just never know where to start. I have been in Embrace and I've got a shop called Embrace. It's in Westfield, Miranda, and we've been there for 12 years now. But as a little girl, I've always been extremely psychic. I've always had a very strong sixth sense. And so I felt like it was only natural for me after I left school to sort of, explore that a little bit more. And I have always loved crystals. I've always felt an energy from crystals. I always knew that there was something more to the world. Like as a little child, I used to talk to my mum about parallel universes. I was 6 years old. Like, how did I even know about that? So it was just very natural for me to sort of want to work in this industry. I've been working in the psychic field for 30 years. And I have had Embrace for 12 years. And from that, I've also got a different business, which is Christmas balls. So we have a little bit of a joke that I'm the woman with balls because I have crystal balls and crystal Christmas balls.
I love it. I love it so much. And I love the fact that, you really are combining your really authentic self in your business. And I think that there's so many people out there right now that need to hear that message that you can have a successful business by being who you are.
Yeah, that is just the biggest thing. I remember always growing up in a family business, and my dad always said to us, you have to stay humble and never try to compete with your competitor. Don't even look at what they're doing and just stay in your own lane. And that's just something that I've taken into my life. And being who I am pretty much an open book. No, people say, you shouldn't say so much, but if someone asks me how much rent I'm paying, I tell them I don't really care. If someone asks a personal question, I'll answer. I actually don't have any problem with that. And I feel that people then can relate to you more. And that's how we were able to build Embrace, especially in the year that we opened it. It was at a time when people weren't really open to crystals. So we were sort of like going against the crowd and going against the norm. But when people actually could see that we were quite normal people ourselves, I feel that was part of the success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the more that obviously social media plays such a huge part now in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
But one thing that I tell all my clients and anybody who I meet is that you want to be on social media, fantastic, go for it. But when people meet you in person, you need to be exactly the same as well.
That's so true. And it's so funny because I don't come from that world of social media. I'm a child of the 80s or teenager of the 80s. So
Me too.
I'm going to be honest, like I don't like social media. So I have to hire young girls to do it all for us. But I sometimes have to stop them from what they're putting up. I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, this is the trend, or this is like the way it's got to look. And I'm like, no, I don't want it like that. And I sort of, it's very hard to get my head around, but I still, in the end of the day, will have the final say, and I'll make sure that everything's quite authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you found that the way that, you know, we've all had to go through so many changes, especially in the last couple of years with COVID. And I've actually found that that's actually really bringing people's true authentic self out, because they've had to spend time with themselves, or they've had to spend time with, you know, people that may not be on the same wavelength as them, but they're really starting to embrace everything about themselves now even more.
Yeah, I'm finding that now. It's interesting that you say that, because before COVID, we were booked out solidly for years upon years with all our psychics. We've got, you know, a few reading rooms out the back, completely booked. During COVID, we were forced to change our business model. We had no choice, so we had to really push the online. And you know, the readers were still quite busy online, but what I've noticed now that we're online and back in the store, readings haven't been the popular thing, as popular as what they used to be. And speaking to other psychics in the industry that are my friends, have all said the same thing, because people have been forced to look into themselves. And it's great. Like, I have no problem with it. We've made up for the lack there in you know, somewhere else. But I love that people are coming to us now and feeling more empowered within themselves, more in what they wanted, knowing what they want to do, because the lockdowns have made them. They've had a choice.
Yeah, I really, like, honestly believe that COVID has been, I know that it's a double-edged sword with a lot of people, but the finding who you are, or even just asking those questions, those really hard questions that sometimes we have to do, going, what do I want? Where do I want to be? And going down that sort of self-discovery pathway, it has been a beautiful thing to witness with so many people.
Yeah, so obviously when people come for a reading, they've got to, they not many will come just for the fun of it. They've got an issue, so we know automatically they've got a decision to make. They don't know, you know, which way to go. They're at a crossroads, things like that. But we're not having those questions asked to us at the moment. So, and it's really interesting being in the field for so long and seeing how everything's starting to change. It's not just that, but that's been a very big component of it, and it is changing. And speaking to other psychics, like I said, who don't work with me, are saying the same thing.
Have you also found that people are, like, you know, they're really trusting their own intuition more so? And even though it's probably been, like, it has been within us all along, but we are now able to trust that so much more. Like, we don't need the validation from, you know, or the psychic told me this, or I don't need the validation from other people, or I don't need, like, I don't have a business plan. I don't believe in business plans, because I trust my intuition of what I actually need to do and what my clients need. And I know that's very controversial for people out there, but I have my vision. I trust my inner guidance all the time. Are you finding that yourself?
I've never had a business plan in all the years I've been in business. I've been doing the Christmas shop for 25 years, something like that. Never in my life, because I've always just trusted. And I've never doubted any of the decisions that I've made, even though there have been decisions that I haven't been always necessarily good, but even they have taken me to a better place. Eventually. But I feel that people are trusting themselves more now. This is a perfect example. Only yesterday I was in my store, and we have a customer that's been coming for readings since forever, and she likes to sort of see different readers all the time. And I said to her, I haven't seen you in ages. How have you been? And she said, really good. She said, guess what? I'm not having any psychic readings anymore. And I said, well, that's great. You know, what's going on? And she just basically said, I don't feel I need it. I feel that the lockdown made her really retreat. And during that time, she left her husband, which I'm not telling people to go leave your husband. But for her, it was something that she'd been wanting to do for so long. And I guess being together during lockdown, it just maybe just, you know, what am I trying to say? Like during that time, it just maybe cemented for her that was what she needed to do. But she also changed her career during that time. And honest to God, she looked so good. I thought she had a facelift. I said to her, did you get any work done? And she said no. So just trusting in what she wanted and not necessarily what a psychic reader had told her to do. She's looked the best. She was so happy. She spent a lot of money with us on some crystals and stuff, which was great for us. But I can't tell you how happy I was to hear that for her.
Yeah, I love that. Everyone says to me, oh, what's your secret? And I said, you have to love yourself and trust yourself. I said, honestly, it is the best facelift that you will ever get because you're not frowning and all those different things. And, you know, and I think it takes a lot of courage to trust yourself too, and not to do the self-doubt, which I did for 40 years, let's just say, you know, a long time. It has only been the last few years that I've actually really been able to tap into that and have that self-belief and, you know, trust my gut and know the vision that I have for myself. And when you see that in other people, and it's sort of like that light bulb moment actually go off, it's the most beautiful thing to witness for people as well.
I gave her a big hug and we both started crying.
Oh, yes.
And I was so happy for her and so proud of her.
Yeah.
Just that she just said, I just don't feel I need that anymore.
Yeah.
And, but she had to come to that realization herself.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if somebody was to get started in crystals, so I have 3 beautiful nieces that are all right into crystals, and they ask, Auntie Christine, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, you know what? You have to work out what you want it for. But if someone who was to just get started in crystals, obviously they should come and speak to you. What would you say would be the most popular or the most asked about crystal?
Without a doubt, amethyst is like probably the most popular. Maybe rose quartz might be up there as well, but everyone knows amethyst. I'm actually even wearing it on my ring. Amethyst, I always have this joke that it's the one that likes to get around a lot. And I think because it's a little bit of an all-rounder, it helps with so many different things. It helps with anxiety, all the energy of it. So it's not really the crystal, it's the energy that it portrays. It helps with sleeping, it helps with headaches, it helps with traveling and protection and bringing an angelic energy and stuff like that. So I feel like it's more like the all-rounder, and that's definitely, it's a pretty color, like it's a pretty purple, comes in all different hues of purple, but without a doubt it's always been our most popular selling crystal.
Yeah, I do love amethyst. My other 2 favorites are rose quartz and citrine, which I absolutely love with it. And if somebody was then to say, okay, I really want to, so the word that we're promoting for our April issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine is all around empower. I want people to be empowered with their decisions. I want to encourage people to know that it's okay to go down that path less traveled. It's okay to not conform to what social media says that you need to look like or to do, and, you know, all those different things. So is there something that, you know, advice that you would give to somebody to be empowered?
Are you talking crystal wise, you mean? What
crystal wise is also your words of beautiful wisdom as well.
All right. Well, I think like we've already covered, just trusting in yourself, but I think really before that you have to be prepared to make mistakes, because they're going to happen. And I tell this to my kids. I've got 15-year-old twins, and I'm always telling this to my daughter because she's not always sure of herself. And it's like, you're going to make a mistake, but no matter what, there's been times where I thought this is the end of me, but somehow it turns around to be a whole new beginning and something really good comes out of it. So it's definitely being prepared to make mistakes, number one. I think secondly, you know, I do like to work with the energy of crystals, so I do have them around me. But I don't believe that the crystal itself is going to make it happen. I've got to make it happen. So it's a little bit controversial in the industry that I'm in saying that to people. They're sort of like, well, you're trying to sell this to us or you're not trying to sell this to us. But at the end of the day, it's what, you know, people use it as like a talisman. Some people might have a lucky horseshoe. Or like this morning, my son put an umbrella up in the house. I said, don't do that, it's bad luck. You know, it's because what we believe. So people like to believe in the crystal. But I think really the two biggest things of answering the question is be prepared to make mistakes because you will, and be ready to work hard as well, and trust in yourself.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. You know, I talk a lot about saying to people that you have to own your story, because the mistakes that you've made, they're not actually there to define you. They're actually help you to grow and to learn. And when you own it, nobody can take that away from you, and it allows you then to change the destination of where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, just because you're here in one particular place does not necessarily mean you're going to be there forever. You know, it's a beautiful journey, and to learn from everything.
Exactly. And I really believe that we can change our destiny. I'm a little bit skeptical when it comes to psychics saying to somebody, this is going to happen, or people believe in, I totally believe in the law of attraction, but there's a line where you know, if I want to win the lotto, for example, it's not going to happen if I'm not going to go buy the lotto ticket.
Yes.
So this is where people need to understand that they've got to put the work in as well.
Yeah. You're speaking my language. I've got a quote, and it says, dreams plus actions equal reality, because you can dream big, but if you don't have the action, it's never going to become a reality.
I love that. Actually, I won $17 in the lotto.
I love it.
And then and in saying that, it's a matter of being grateful as well. I would have liked to won the whole $2 million, but I won $17, and I said my thank you.
Yes.
So being, you know, having an act of gratitude is very big importance. Yeah,
absolutely. When it comes to business, have you found your own personal growth has changed as well with having your own business?
In so many ways, it never stops changing. I found even the look and feel of the business has changed too. I do feel the business itself is an energy, and that energy will revolve around how I'm feeling. So if I'm not very well, we'll have quiet days, even if I'm there today. But if I'm just today just feeling real like a sloth, it will be a really crappy day in the business. But what I've learned over the years is you've got to trust your staff. And that's taken me a long while to, not that I don't trust them, but to trust that they can do just as a good job in my business. And I've got an amazing team. So I think the team has helped me evolve too. And they sometimes pull me up on some of my downfalls that I don't recognize. And then I'm like, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I should change, you know, do this a different way or approach it a different way. But the look and feel of the shop changes all the time depending on the stock. And I feel that that's sort of like, we're like that too. We're just constantly ebbing and flowing.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that, you know, I talk a lot about that you are the brand. So I have a lot of people, you know, they're like, okay, I've just left corporate. I've gone and started my own business, done this beautiful logo. It all looks all nice and shiny. But then when I say to them that you have to be the brand because you've started the business, you're the vision for it. Do you agree with that?
Yes, because at one point I thought I'm going to get a business coach. Biggest mistake and the biggest waste of money. I'm not saying business coaches are mistakes and waste of money, but for me it was. And the coach was saying, you know, why are you in your shop all the time? You should be at home working on your business, not in your business. So I thought, okay, I'm going to stay home and do this, this, and this. what I noticed is that customers wanted to see me. And it wasn't out of like saying this and egotistical. They just want to see I am the brand. So now I make an effort to make sure I go in quite regularly, and it just is a whole different ball game when I'm there. And the other stuff that I need to do, I still can get it done in there anyway. Sometimes I might have to hide out in the back room, but if you're not around in your business and you're trying to get a brand happening, forget it. So you need to be there, you need to have a presence, and you need to know what's going on in your business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the stuff that you don't like accounting, I just do not like, but I know I have to know it.
Look, I hate the accounts. I don't know how my accountant even puts up with me. But I have to know it. This morning, Lara, who runs all our online, had to show me how to do something, not even though she's doing it, but I said to her, you need to show me, just in case something happens to you, God forbid you get sick or whatever. I just want to be on top of it all. And that in itself makes me feel a bit empowered.
Yes, absolutely. How do you find with juggling life and business?
God, it's when I was younger, it was great. My twins, while they were younger, it was easy. I had great parents that would help. Aunties and uncles were chipping in. The kids could come to work, and they were, when they're younger, a lot easier. Now that they're older and they're both about to turn 16, it is a bit tough. My son needed to be somewhere at 5 o'clock the other day, and I didn't finish work till 6, and my husband wasn't finishing till 7. So I'm not going to lie, it's not always the easiest. And I got home that night, I was exhausted. We had a stressful day, and we had to call Uber Eats in for dinner. So sometimes you've just got to do what you've got to do. And if it means Uber Eats, well, then so be it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And also too, I find it depends on how I get out of bed. If I always start my day, I like to say my prayers, and I like to sort of sit in meditation, and I don't sit there and chant on with my legs crossed, but I'll just sit and stare and just focus on my day. Now, if I don't do that, my day usually is chaotic. So I make sure that I start my day in the right frame of mind as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think everyone around me knows that if I haven't had a coffee by a certain time, don't talk.
Exactly. I have to have the coffee. So it'll start with my prayers, my meditation, and then the coffee.
Yeah.
It's a double shot too.
That's it. I think my mum asked me the other day, how many coffees you had today? And I said 3. And she goes, okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. I'm like, yeah, it's all good.
Well, I'm actually drinking tea right now, but as soon as my husband gets home, we'll get the coffee out again.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love how you are showing up so authentically. And when I read your story, I'm like, okay, I have to interview this lady because she speaks my language. So I just want to say thank you so much for being you and just sharing your story so beautifully as well.
Thank you so much. Now, I do have Lara told me, because I didn't even know you could do this morning, that if anyone wanted to buy anything off our website, we could give any of your listeners a code.
Yes.
This is how hopeless I am when it comes to computer stuff. And so the code was EMPOWER, EMPOWER.
Beautiful.
20.
Beautiful.
20. Yeah.
Beautiful. So what we'll do is we'll pop that in the comments below, let people know. As soon as this goes live, we'll let people know that they can go and reach out. We're going to put all the links below so they can get in contact with you.
They'll get
as
a
well.
20% discount.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Like I'm just really in awe of what you do, and I'm just super grateful that you've trusted us to share your story. So thank you so much for being here, Rosie.
Trusting me to share it too. And I'd like to send you a copy of my book. So
absolutely.
I'll get an address from you. And
yes, I would love that. Absolutely love it. So I just want to say thank you to Rosie for being here today. Thank you to everyone who has joined and watched this episode. If you've loved it as much, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and reach out if you've got any questions, comment below. We'll be happy to come and answer them as well. And just to remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.